Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, welcome to the Actors Area. I'm your host, Sean Robert Grant, known in some of these parts as AKA Reverend Sean Robert Grant. Hope all is fantastic with you guys. I appreciate you dearly for being here. Thank you for all your support. I'm going to say something here really quick that I want to get across the board. So this AI business has been a thorn in my butt. Okay. And what I mean by that is Spreaker, the company that I uses, I believe, an AI program to detect music. And if you've been listening to any of the podcasts I've done over the past 6-7 years, you realize I don't use music, but AI seems to be detecting music in my podcast. So fear not, though. I'm going to let you know right off the bat, if by some chance this podcast is shut off under any circumstance or taken down, it's available on my YouTube because YouTube doesn't remove it. And it literally, the moment I start recording, the podcast will go to YouTube so you can listen to it there. I just wanted to throw that out there because if you look at today's title, it says Actor Stories That Motivate Us, Part 3. And then you might look at my page and then part 1 or part 2 is like missing. Well, go to my YouTube, which is sgrant28 is the ID, but you can find me at ShaunGrant. That's my YouTube channel. And it's the cover photo is a picture of me in a red shirt, a headshot. So that way you don't miss out on any of the stuff that we're talking about here because we've had some really phenomenal episodes taken down by the lovely AI, artificial intelligence. So I just want to throw that out there to you really quickly. With that being said, guys, I hope you are doing well. Thank you for all of your support around the world. It has been wonderful to see that unfold. You guys are amazing. Thank you in advance for reaching out, for commenting, for just being interactive, because that's what's amazing about a podcast. Sometimes, unless you have people calling in, you don't really interact with your audience, but you guys have been great with that. So if you want to continue to do so, you know the drill, ShaunG04@gmail.com. You can write to me there and I will get back with you as soon as I possibly can. Very happy and grateful to do that. So let's get into our story, our episode today, which is one that is near and dear to my heart of hearts. It's a personal story, and it's a story that I will never, ever forget because it just shows you never judge a book by its cover. You never judge a book when somebody is being when you come into contact with somebody, and I've had this happen so many times in my life, right? I'll just be completely honest with you and upfront. There are people who I have worked with, been friends with, been acquaintances with, gone to school with, who look at me where I am today and scratch their heads as to how could I have gotten to the place that I've gotten to? And it never fails. And it's one of the most funny things for me to look at because I know the reason I was able to get to where I am today is because I took control of my mind. I took control of my emotions. I took control over my life, and I intersected that with my divine connection to the all that is, to God. And that is what gave me the ability to do all of the amazing things that I've been able to do up to this point. So this story takes us back to 2008. And if you know me, you know that I started acting. I did the Ray Charles movie in 2004 as a featured dancer. And then I think I did one more film featured, Locust, and then I took a break. And then I got back in December 2007. And then I found myself doing, a side job, kind Because at that point in time, I really just, I wanted to be an actor and I wanted to be an entertainer. And I was modeling, doing runway and stuff like that. And I was also doing smaller films. This was actually before I booked my very first big film. I remember I was working at the Buckle, right? And so, if you're in America, there's likely a Buckle in your mall or one of your malls in your area. And it was a really neat, trendy store. And I just remember, like, it sold tennis shoes. It sold, like, different types of jeans, shirts, all this stuff. The funny thing is like what they were selling, it was so popular that you would actually go out, and I'm talking about in New Orleans, you would actually go out and you would see like 2 or 3 guys wearing the exact same shirt or jeans that you had. So in that regard, it was kind of like, oh gosh, here we go. But, it wasn't fun to just see another dude in your shirt, but it is what it is. Like, everybody's different. Anyway, this is about, I want to say at the beginning of 2008 or so, maybe a bit later, somewhere around that time. I was working there, and anywho, it became a job that I was like, it worked with the schedule that I had, right? It really, it gave me an opportunity to really focus on my acting outside of work, but you still got to pay the bills at that point in time. So I did that job, and I would normally work in the morning times and stuff like that. And for the sake of embarrassment, I won't call out any names, but I can remember I was working there for a bit of time. And around this time, I want to say, I forget what it was, but Will Smith was like the biggest actor in the world. It's funny, we were just talking about AI, and in iRobot, I believe, came out in 2008, but I think it was Hancock that was out, that he was just like, he was just on a whole different level of stratosphere as it related to, him just basically being the biggest movie star in the world. And I had just started acting, and I let a lot of people know that I just started, and I'm really kind of finding my groove and getting into it. And I was excited about that. And I can remember this one guy, and I kind of thought I was friends with everybody, but this really taught me a lesson in understanding that not everybody's your friend. There's going to be a lot of people that are acquaintances, a lot of people that are associates, a lot of people you come into contact with, and you do your best to be cordial with them. But at the same time, not everybody's going to be your friend. And I found this out really kind of in a harsh manner. And so I remember I'm working in the morning, and like I said, for the sake of embarrassment, we'll keep the names concealed, but or the name concealed. I remember working in the morning with this guy, and it's. I'm going to tell you a little bit about New Orleans and the surrounding areas of New Orleans, like Metairie and Kenner. And the reality is not very many people, and I say that's relative. It's a relative statement. Not very many people want to leave the area, right? They're happy with working in the area, finding a job, building a family, buying a house in the area, and being done with it. For me, I had always dreamed of seeing the world. I had always dreamed of being larger than life. Now, whatever that means, it at that point in time, it meant fulfilling every dream that I had for myself. But the reality is, at the time, guys, I just didn't have much to show for it. And so not having much to show for it, you tell people these dreams, and what winds up happening is they sort of dismiss, right? They dismiss the idea of where you see yourself going. So if you look at the description, I talk about how, some people just can't see the potential within you, and some people can, and God bless them, because those are the ones that you need in your corner. But anyway, I just want to give you some backstory on that. I remember working with this guy, and we were talking, and this sort of just kind of came out of nowhere, but then it really didn't. And we were talking about movies and films and stuff like that while we were working. And I had mentioned the Will Smith movie, and I was like, that movie Hancock with Will Smith is really, really amazing. Like, he really inspires me as an actor, as a performer. And, I love what he does. And, I want to do that someday. I'm not saying, I'm Will Smith or going to be Will Smith by any stretch, right? But I see myself doing what he's doing down the road in my life. Well, so I mentioned that, and out of nowhere, and it wasn't like we had this relationship where this guy was always trying to tear me down or anything like that. That's what was so interesting about it. Out of nowhere, he comes up and he says, you know what? That's a really good movie, but I hate to tell you, dude. He says, you're no Will Smith, and you probably won't be. And I just thought to myself, wait, what? Like, did he just say that? Did he just mention that to me? And so I kind of stopped for a bit. And if you know me, I'm a professional. And so I don't really allow emotions to get the best of me whenever I'm working. I do what I got to do. And then I deal with it afterwards. But knowing what I know now, I probably would have kind of lashed back at this point in time, but I didn't. At that point in time, I just kind of laughed it off and then went about my business and did what I did. But I thought about it, and I'm just like, I'm thinking to myself, why would he even say that? Like, this dude, he doesn't know me outside of work. He doesn't know me outside of anything else that I've ever done. And I kid you not, I never forgot it. 2018 was like 15 years ago. And I never forgot it. I never forgot it. It wasn't like I wished any bad ill will towards this guy. But I'm going to tell you straight up, he made that comment and it just ignited something within me, because in my heart, I knew, okay, you know what? I'm not going to be at the goddamn buckle forever, right? Excuse my French, but I mean, that's how I felt. It's like, I'm not going to be working in a mall forever. Like, yeah, you know what? I may be 27 years old and I may be, finding my way, but at the same time, or 26, I think I was at the time, almost 27. I'm going to figure this out. And not only am I going to figure it out, but I'm going to figure it out in a way that allows me to be the very best that I can be. And so when I tell you time went by, I wound up, I wound up leaving the buckle because I wasn't there very long. These mall jobs were like pit stops for me. And a lot of times they were just, something where I could pick up a paycheck and then just like bounce. But what I really, really had in my heart to do was to be the performer that I knew that I was. And I'll never forget, I want to say maybe 2, 3, 4 months after that, I booked my very first big motion picture film. And the most interesting thing about that was, and this happened so many different times, I was the only talent from Louisiana and a talent surrounded by individuals from Los Angeles, from New York, from these big markets. And here I am from New Orleans, Louisiana, with a speaking role in a film produced by Universal that's getting ready to go to the movies and is priming itself to be the next Harry Potter. Now, it didn't turn out to be that way for whatever reason, but that was the very first big film that I had. And then another big film came. And then I remember having a big part in Neo's video that he did for the Disney film, The Princess and the Frog. And then I just one thing after the other began to come, right? And so I remember I was going to the mall. I was in the mall, no longer working in it. This is like a few years later. And I tell you, karma can be a bitch sometimes, but it's actually enjoyable when you know that success is the best revenge. So I think it's like to mid 2010 or maybe early 2011. I'm in the mall and I'm shopping, and I go into the Buckle and I see this guy, and he's like, he's being all nice and stuff. And he's like, man, he says, so what are you up to these days? He says, you know what? I've been acting and he's a lot of different films. I got a film coming out that's, going to be open in theaters. They're going to have a red carpet premiere that I'll get a chance to walk through and everything else like that. And he was just in shock, right? He was just like, whoa. He said, wow, just in total disbelief. But I just, you can pick up on subconscious cues from individuals, from everybody, if you're not clouded by emotion. So you can kind of feel what someone is giving off. And I could feel not only his disbelief, but he knows exactly what he said just a couple of years earlier. But you know what? I didn't hold it against him, but I used what he gave me. And I don't want to say that was the main thing that helped me to succeed in the way that I have. But I never forget those times, because those are the times that can make or break us. If we listen to other people projecting their own limits upon us, what tends to happen? Okay, what tends to happen is this. We don't reach the heights that we dream of. We don't reach the aspirations or the goals that we know are for us within our own hearts. And I just knew if I didn't give myself the opportunity to take that statement and just switch it around and use it to my advantage, like I was going to regret it, because I probably would have been in the same space as he was, right? 3 years had passed, almost 3 years, and nothing against him, but this guy was in the same boat. He was in the same situation. For me, that was not going to cut it. And it just inspired me. And the biggest lesson with this story is God can use anybody. The divine can use anybody to just kind of light a fire under you, to give you inspiration, but in the form of motivation, that's in the form of seeming like they're trying to doubt you. Sometimes the best thing that can happen is someone doubt who you are and who you can be, and it motivates you beyond measure. And that's what that did. And I mean, it just lit a fire under me. And in a lot of ways, when we had that meeting back in 2011, I had to thank him. Like I was thankful. I didn't say thank you because I was still kind of petty at the time, just being honest. But I had to thank him, because without that, I wouldn't have had that motivation to get out of working in malls and to move towards acting and doing runway modeling and stuff like that, and eventually moving to Los Angeles and following my dreams. It was stuff like that that really allowed me to have the inner power and inner strength to go after what I wanted. So with that being said, I say, you know what? If there's anybody in your life that's doubting you, anybody in your life telling you what you can't do, take it. Use it as motivation, and then just let that fire light that fire under your ass and just go after what you want. And you're not going after it to spite anybody. You're going after it because you know what? Whatever you tell me I can't do, there's a divine essence within me that says I can do anything. I can do the impossible. And that's what I'm here to do. And that's all we need, right? And I promise you, it is well worth it. It will feel every bit worth it when you reach that point. So that is my story for today, my actor story for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure. If you have any questions, please write to me at SeanG04@gmail.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Once again, like I said, the AI situation over at Spreaker has been messing around with saying that I've got music in the background and all that stuff. If by some chance this is pulled down off of Spreaker, I want you to go to my YouTube channel where you can hear this episode and share it as well. So, and that's SGrant28, ShaunGrant, Sean Grant. It's me, headshot, red shirt. You can find the episode there and listen in as you like. All right. With that being said, guys, have a wonderful day, night, evening, wherever you are. We will talk soon. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.